Okay, this is my first gouache watercolor sketchbook. This is the first painting that I did, and I'm actually pretty proud of this one. I can't really believe that this wasn't my first time painting. It was my first time painting in gouache in several years. So I'm pretty proud of how this turned out. The only thing I don't like is how I should have overpainted much more, because you have these weird like white spots showing through, but first time, live and learn. This is my house. Hopefully you can't find me. What do I like? I really like how this sketchbook, I really like putting the dates on the sketches because it reminds you of like where you were when you were, obviously. And it's kind of crazy because it's like this was the 1st of March, and I remember sitting outside all day doing this, and it was really nice outside. And it's kind of crazy that March 1st, it was really nice. I was sitting outside painting. Then we have still life of my moon boots, and then some little color test areas. I primarily use just alizarin, cad yellow, and ultramarine blue because that's what the YouTube people told me to do. But I used black in this one, and I don't really like it because I like mixing dark colors out of these 3 colors, and the black is just kind of a cheat code, and you can just kind of go into black. I don't know, it's just kind of like multiple shades of black, and it doesn't really give you that rich of a color. But I do like this one. I like how it turned out. It's fun. Still life, not crazy about the still life. Honestly, every time I paint a still life, I'm not usually crazy about it. I don't know. I guess it does look kind of good. I kind of like how it turned out. I like the yellow shadow from the lemon in this dark area and the red spot on the side of the orange. Not crazy about this one either, but it's a start, it's a sketch. That's why it's a sketchbook, I guess. So Brighton Ski Resort always has like a design the sign contest, and every year they choose some artists like they design their like welcome sign. It looks like a highway sign, like welcome to Utah, but it says welcome to Brighton, or thank you for riding Brighton. But they always have kind of like cartoony stuff, and I think it would be really sick to have a big watercolor on the sign. Artsy watercolor. Gouache. Another still life. Not crazy about this still life, but you know. I do like doing glass. Glass is fun. Glass is weird. You just kind of like paint these weird little shapes for a while, and then once you finally do the last highlights of it, it turns out looking like glass, and then it's like, whoa, that's kind of sick. Yeah, still life. I don't know. Here is a portrait format painting of a fish release into the water. This is supposed to be like a time sieve. What's it called? It's a thing that you flip over and sand falls from the top to the bottom, and it tells you that time has passed. So trying to work with a bunch of different meanings here of like releasing the fish and time. The river is the sand, and the river flows from the top to the bottom. but the river is kind of endless. Deep meaning here. This painting. Another portrait. Maybe just flip your phone. I don't know. That might be too much work for the viewer. I like how this one turned out. This one's cool. Again, I need to overpaint more. I need to overpaint so that you don't get these weird white gaps coming through all over the place. So it looks like snow or something flying through. I really like how I executed my signature on this one, actually. I like putting the date and the time I started doing that. I like the red hits inside of the purple. That is fun for me. I like that. I like the insides, the innards of the flowers, this odd orange and gray color. And I like how I did these flowers in the background of just a little, this just shape that indicates that there's a bunch of irises in the background, and then just a couple hits to indicate other irises in the background. I like that one. That one's actually sick. Here's one. This is a view, I think it might be called a canyon road up Memory Grove Park up there, 11th Ave, Salt Lake. I really like this one. I like how this turned out. I like how purple that shadow is. I like how the road comes in and disappears, and I like the shadows in the road. That was fun. I like how I did this one. I went back and did an oil painting of it, and I did not like it as much. I don't know what it is about gouache, but these gouache paintings are just really nice. It's just really simple, small, can't do a bunch of crazy shit stuff. Gotta just get it in there and then kind of work with it, work with what you got. I don't know, it's like really simple. I mean, it's a lot simpler. And with oils, you're like I just always get oil paint everywhere. And so this is kind of nice because it's water soluble. Here are a couple just kind of color studies from my kitchen window. That's what the tape is there, is that I wrote my address and I doxed myself. I realized that in the first recording of this that I did 10 minutes ago. Yeah, just simple color studies, fun. It's like, oh, I get a painting. I just did a painting. It only took me 10 minutes. It's pretty nice to not spend too long on something and you just get a little study out of it. Here's some more studies, different days and times. Different day, 2 different days, 3 different days. 3 different days. This one is the view of the ochres. I like this one. I wish that this blended in better. I blended that better, but you know, that one was nice, fun. Another one from the view of my kitchen of Mount Olympus, my favorite mountain. Thanks, Nash. Another view of the ochres from the same kitchen window. Just trying to get, there's so many different interesting color combinations of the sky and the mountains. Every day there's you know, it changes every day. There's a different variation and it's just always there. It's always fun to look at. I really like when it looks like this, when the mountain is just one shade of blue and then you've got some weird sky stuff going on in the background. This is a view from the living room of a big tree I was trying to do. I'm not crazy about that one, but you know. Yeah. Kitchen view again. I really like that view, I guess. I really like Mount Olympus. It's just nice. I could just wake up, kitchen, bang out a painting, feel good about myself. This is, might be kind of hard to decipher what's going on here, but this area is like the gravel parking lot, and the sun is coming from this corner and shining, passing. There's trees here in this area, and there's a cool shadow shape. I love shadows. I love to do the like outline of the shadow darker so that it like pops more. These colors were kind of a weird, interesting color combination. Nature just gives you free color combos, free color combos, free subjects. It's just nonstop out there. It's sick. Love it. Here's a couple more views. Outside looking at the ochres from my house. Really liked the sky in this one. Really liked what was going on. Purple mountain, orange sky. It was like radiating up. Didn't capture that so well. I don't really understand how to fade. I don't understand how to blend the sky super well yet. And then it kind of dumped into the mountains there. Didn't love that, but I do like the colors, and so that was a win. And it's interesting, I don't know really why the trees are brown. I'm not sure if that's accurate or if that was artistic license. I don't know. Weird. Telephone lines. The sky was just gorgeous this night. I really like how I was staring at these telephone poles, and if you take a picture of it or if you just like glance at it, they look black. But at this time of night, there was still color in the telephone poles, and so that was kind of interesting. It's really interesting what happens when you stare at something for a long time. You notice all sorts of little weird things. The trees, I like how I executed the trees here. Really nice. Sometimes I do the same pattern over and over again, repeated, and it looks bad. It looks like a Kid's Picks brush that you just, but this one's nice. Oh yeah, that one's nice. This one's nice. This one was fun. I was standing in a parking garage in downtown Salt Lake. The mountains were just gorgeous. One of the classic Salt Lake peoples, the dude with he's got like a bike and a huge boom box on a carriage in the back, and he rides around Salt Lake and just booms music. He popped up to the top of the garage and was hanging out for a minute. But yeah, really like how this one turned out. I don't like the like new buildings. They all look the same, but it was interesting that it had this hole in it where you can see the mountains. What else is going on here? I really like the blue section. I really like doing this to shadows. It just looks sick. I don't know why. I love that. Ooh, and now we get to Harbor Springs. I was at my friend's house in Harbor Springs. They all have these like, it's just a pipe, Schedule 40 pipe, steel. Maybe it's not even Schedule 40 since it's steel. Or maybe it's iron. Might be iron. But they just drive a pipe into the ground, and the water table is so high, and there's pressure because there's a bluff So water just comes out of these pipes, and then there's a little basin, and then it goes out to Lake Michigan from there. I kind of like the ferns. I really would like to do another painting of the ferns because they're really challenging to do. A really interesting shape. Love all the greens. There's a lot, just so much different greens. It's so lush up there. I come from Salt Lake City. That's just like this dry desert. And then you come here and it's so lush. There's moss everywhere. I like how I accomplished the basin here. I like the shadows on the edge of the basin here. Let's see. This one's looking out over Harbor Springs Bay. I like this hit of the beach here. I like the faraway shoreline, and I like the sailboat. The sailboat, it was, believe it or not, I was a little bit scared to put the sailboat in because I wasn't sure if I would be able to do it right, but it's just a little triangle of white, and then it just looks sick. I don't like how the watercolor pencil is still there. I don't really know why that happened in this one. Sailboat, Harbor Springs, sailboat, sitting there in the morning mist. Kind of sick. I kind of like that one. Not overly ecstatic about it, but it's a painting. I got out there and I did it. The background might be too large. I think maybe shorten that. And then I jacked that up and it doesn't actually, it would go like out here. Where's that going? That doesn't go to anything. So you gotta watch your angles on those things. And then here's just a couple of quick color studies. The lighting was so interesting on this night that I just had to run and get my watercolor sketchbook, my gouache sketchbook, and try and just get some blobs in for the sky and the land. It was so interesting. I love these color combinations. It was like it had either, I think it just rained or it was about to rain or the rain was coming in, and then like 10 minutes after this it looked like a normal day, but we just got this right in the right in the evening, and then it blew out, and then it was like blue skies, and then off to the left, that's what it looked like off to the left. Was just trying to do a color study. At the right at the horizon line where the water meets the land, I noticed this like lighter stripe. I was noticing that the whole time when I was painting. It's too big in this one, but it is there. And that's it. That's the end of the sketchbook tour. Thanks for watching. Come again next time. And yeah, hope you liked it.